Welcome, girls, to Her Opinion, and I have with me Keisha.
Hi.
Hi.
Hi. And Jasmine.
Jasmine.
Hello.
Thank you so much.
One of the things I like, though, is when we have our friends on the podcast. I like it because I know things about you that I can bring up. Other people may not know. But one thing I want to say is that Jasmine is our sponsor this month for our podcast.
Hey.
And not only that, this is our home now. This is where we podcast. So if you can't see in the background, Jazz, Top Notch Garage Doors. I just want to say I'm proud of you, girl. Doing big things.
Definitely.
Thank you guys.
I know. And so one of the things that I am just so excited to talk to y'all because y'all are women in a men's world. Tell me
Working in a
how,
men's world.
yes, working in a men's world, you're in a, you're in a man's world, but working in a man's world. How do you differentiate yourself from anyone else?
You want to go first? Okay.
She's like, no, you.
So, I don't know. When I started in the industry, I thought that being a woman in a male-dominant industry was my downfall. And it was the scariest part about being in construction because I was like, these big men are not going to take me seriously. And it took me several years to kind of figure out that me being a woman in the industry was my strongest character. And, you know, everybody in the garage door world knows about garage doors, but how well are they at what they do? And the moment that I realized that being a woman was not my weakness, it was actually my strongest point. Because as soon as the men that I work with realize that she knows what she's talking about, she's capable, and she does a good job, they respected me 2 to 3 times more than they probably respect their other male counterparts. So
Would you say that you had to work that much harder to gain their respect? Like the knowledge and all that you do?
at the beginning, men are, I don't want to say very generalized, but they tend to think, what does she know? And so at the very beginning of every new relationship, I am constantly proving myself. And then
Wait, are we talking work or dating?
both.
Yeah.
Actually, that's another podcast.
Yeah.
That's another one. No, so, I started out having to gain their respect, and then in the moment when things would hit the ceiling fan and problems would happen and I was there to fix their problems, that's when I think that they realized it was almost like a light switch for each and every company individually. They were like, wow, she actually knows what she's talking about. And in the moment that they realize that, I think that that's when they start to respect me more than they respect other male counterparts.
Well, I would just want to say, for me looking at what you're doing, you've got me, girl. I'll buy from you because I think you're making garage doors beautiful.
Yeah.
But that's just me. But moving on to Keisha.
Keisha, now I've known Keisha for many years. She's actually worked on a lot of my projects. And I'm so admired every time that I see you on like ground zero. Tell us a little bit about how, you have to work in that industry.
So a little bit about what Jasmine said. It's the same thing. So every day I walk these properties, a realtor send me out or whatever, and the investors, they're like, who's the general contractor? I'm like, I am. So you have some people like frown upon it, like she doesn't know anything. But then I come in answering all the questions, knocking it out, and yeah.
And
Well, you proved them wrong.
I definitely proved them wrong.
For sure. And I know because it's really funny because some of my projects that I have with these guys, and I ask them a question, they're like, you need to go talk to Keisha. You need to go talk to her.
Because y'all work together.
Yes, but she's the general contractor.
Yeah.
So if there's any kind of change or anything, they respect her enough to go to her and to say, you need to talk to Keisha. And Keisha is the one that takes care of it. So I am, like I said.
Even when you're trying to talk to them in Spanish.
Yes, they're like, habla con Keisha. That's how they say it. So tell me how you got started.
Oh man, this one's a doozy.
Yeah.
I've heard this story.
But be honest, because a lot of women, out there need to really hear your story.
Yeah. So, 2015, it was my senior year of high school, and I was dating a guy who was installing garage doors for another company. and he would come home every day and just complain about how much he hated the company and how they treated him and the pay and all that. So when I graduated high school, I had a little bit of money left over from financial aid, and I was like, why don't we just start our own company? How hard could it be? And in our industry, we don't have licenses, and all of the requirements are a lot less strict than in plumbing, HVAC, electrical, and all of that. So we started a company, and really all you need is insurance, and you need to know what you're doing, and you need people to hire you. And so we did just that. We worked with a couple lead generation websites like HomeAdvisor and Angie's List. And from 2015 to 2017, I was in the field working with him, but also the one managing all the phone calls. And then when we parted ways in 2017, how hard could it be? I was like, I'll just start my own company. And at that point, I spent 2 years in the field working, and I learned, I don't want to say everything that there is to know. There's always room to grow, and there's always things to learn. But I learned a majority of what I needed to know to run a company. And so I started my own company from 2017 forward, here, present day, in this beautiful office. So I started the company. I focused on individual homeowners for the first few years. After a couple of years, I met a guy who was flipping a house, and he hired me to do the remodel on it. And so we swapped out his garage door. He later went to build on 2 houses, 4 houses, and I started working with him. That was my first foot in the new construction industry. And so now, years later, that's my bread and butter. I focus mostly with home builders. 99% of our work is new construction. But he was my first foot in the door, and he was the first person that believed in me. Like I said, being a woman in the industry was very intimidating at the beginning. And when you think about it, not only was I a woman in a male-dominant industry, but I was an 18-year-old girl, woman, whatever you want to call me. So from 18 to 22, how serious did I think people were going to take me, even though I knew everything that my male counterparts did know.
Yeah.
Right.
So I've been rocking with it since. We do mostly new construction. We service from Huntsville to Galveston, and we work with about 137 home builders through that
Awesome.
area. We're looking to go into Dallas here soon. So definitely exponential growth.
That's awesome.
There's lots of growth, because I will say that you went from a little small office that tiny,
We met you.
tiny to a big office now that's like big girl moves.
And not a lot of people know that side of the story. So, my first office, Nushin, you were there, it was probably the size
Yeah,
from,
it was.
from this wall to that wall.
Just that small growth at that time. And then actually, I would say that this growth was kind of like something that you kind of just stumbled into, where it was like, I got to make this move. What am I going to do? And then it was meant to be, right? It was kind of like it was a blessing in disguise.
Yeah.
Because when I walked into this place, I was like, wow, Jasmine, wow.
She had to call me and tell me immediately. She said, you have to come
You have
see
to
this
come.
place.
Yeah. No part of me thought that I was going to go from subleasing from, I think my first office was less than 300 square feet. And then my next one was right around 500. And now I'm at a 2,000 square foot office. I don't think there's anything that prepares you for that growth, but I think that it just kind of happens, and you get to a place where you have to take a leap, and you don't really know what there is in the future, but you take that leap, and you just know that there's no looking back anymore.
I totally get that. And again, I'm proud of you. Watching it and seeing it, I'm very proud of you. And Keisha, now back to you, girl. I just want to say,
She's got a story.
how do you get men to
To listen to you, do what you say. To do what you say.
Put those, because in a relationship.
Hold on. They don't even speak the language.
Yeah.
They don't even speak the language, and they submit to her.
She's
No,
like,
I'm kidding.
I pay the paycheck. Well, just gaining that respect, right? Because how do you find the workers? How do you do what you do? All of it come together.
So exactly she said, in 2015, I met a guy, and he was actually owning his own company in construction, and excuse me, and he just taught me the whole game. Like, I've always wanted to be in real estate. I like house pictures and all of that, but he taught me the game, and I just ran with it. We split, but we still do a little business together. But for 4 years, I've been doing my own thing.
So you already had access to workers and all that kind of stuff?
Well,
What do you? I
found
mean,
my own guys. Like
Okay.
I would go into properties that are getting remodeled, see their work, see if they want more work,
Yeah.
and that's how I
To
do
like,
it.
here's my
and keep
card.
them busy. Keep them busy.
And keep them
Yes.
busy. That is it.
And let them know where the bread and butter comes
That's
from,
it.
so they won't work for Jen under the table.
Right?
Oh yeah, don't tell me. Yeah.
No, don't worry, I'm not like that. But it's really funny how I mean, it's not funny, but I respect that they just say,
And I think it's amazing though that to see the growth that women can do a lot of things that we would think normally that's a man's job, you know,
Yeah.
or and put a little jazz in it, you know. Like, I feel like it's like we always got to have our own little touch to it. But I totally think that that's a great accomplishment to see and to make it work, because you can do something, right? We can think we can be great at anything, but it doesn't necessarily mean it's going to work out.
Mm-hmm.
But to see it work out and to make money and, you know, create this bigger empire with it is a blessing too. And gaining respect from men is always a plus. Like,
well, can I just ask, this may be too personal or maybe inappropriate, I don't know.
ooh,
What do they think about you now? Like, do they see what you have done, where you started from, and you kind of like took off above them, huh?
The builders?
No, your
My
ex. I don't care about the builders. I want to know about the ex. I want to know the juicy
builders,
stuff.
obviously.
I know
Oh,
the
man.
juicy stuff.
I can add some more inappropriateness to this. So the part of the story that I did not care to include previously was
But
when I decided to split ways, I was the one running all the office work. He didn't even have a login to send an invoice. So when I decided that I was going to split and start my own company, I sent a mass email to every client in our book saying, we've been bought out by a new company. Here's their phone number.
Smart girl.
Please don't contact us again. And I shut everything down. So I shut his entire company down in a sense. He still had his profile and he could get more lead generation or whatever. But
Well, you worked for it.
yeah, well,
I mean, you were the one calling
I
and
owned
doing.
it. Yeah, like, and so, you know, at the end of the day,
you were protecting yourself.
Yeah.
So I told him, I was like, at the end of the day, I'm the brains behind this company and I'm the one bringing everything in and I can hire people to do the labor. And
Yeah.
that's what it was. So present day, almost 10 years
So it
later.
didn't end on good
Yeah.
No.
He's not rooting for
I
you.
know.
Yeah, I didn't do that.
Yeah.
That was brave.
So present day, I'll give you guys two stories and you can decide which one you want to put on the internet.
Okay.
So present day, he currently lives in Dallas and sells drugs. That's the real life
Oh
story.
no.
That's the one that you can decide.
We will
if you
not
want to
say his
put.
name.
I did
We will
not see that
say his
coming.
name.
I
I don't
did
know
not see
what
that
you're talking
coming.
about.
Yeah, you can all drink to that one. Present day, he lives in Dallas. I think he still does a little
So we're
drugs,
just speculating.
Yeah.
but he does some other stuff on the side.
No, but he's really selling garage doors, though, right?
No.
The other garage.
He's in a garage.
He's selling.
He's in a garage selling other
doing
stuff.
garage work.
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, so I haven't talked to him in probably 8 years or so. It's been a really long time, 7 years. But I see him around. We both play volleyball, so I don't really have a choice but to see him occasionally. But every time I see him, it looks like he's doing worse. And,
Oh wow. Well, we don't wish that on anybody.
No,
At
no.
the
But it
same
wasn't
time,
your fault.
It's
I mean,
not. Yeah,
it
it's
would
what
have
you
to
choose
do with him.
yourself.
Yes,
right?
because he could have easily, moved on and
Because we're not here about that kind of stuff on this
No,
show. We're all about
no.
empowering everybody. But
Yes.
at the same time,
But
what you do with your own
yes.
life, and I just, at some point I just got to say that you took that authority and you moved forward and you had confidence and you made those moves and it worked out for you, and that's great. So,
and it was never overnight.
yeah.
It was
Yeah.
never like,
And that's the thing is, like, there's so much, like the back end, right? Because I mean, I think we always glamorize where we're at and what's going on now, and that, like, but that doesn't mean like there's people paying their bills on time, and you're, you got rent to pay, you got employees to pay, you got to make sure that you're staying. Now you got to hire people to get that money in. There's all the back end story to that. Like, it looks great and glamorous, but there's still so much behind it that to keep it going.
And I think that's the part where people don't necessarily, that's the part that they don't see. It's like, you see social media, excuse me, you see social media, you see a successful company, you don't see the overhead You don't see that accounts receivable every day.
Right.
You
The
don't
stress,
see, you don't see
the employees,
Are
the
those
people.
checks coming in?
Yeah, the employee giving you a
They don't see you
heartache.
chasing
something gone
credit for
wrong.
money. It's a lot.
Yeah, the
That
things that
nobody's
gone wrong
answering the
because
phone.
yeah, and you're in customer service, so things go wrong. You have to be there to put out those fires.
And that's what sets me apart in a sense. Is like, you know, I'm not the cheapest garage door company. Unfortunately, I can't be because I'm not doing the work myself. I have overhead, but I do offer the best service.
Yeah.
And that's what my selling point is. Is like, if you talk to any of my builders, they're going to say, we tried going with somebody a little cheaper and it just didn't work out because at the end of the day, they couldn't provide me the same service that Jasmine can.
Yeah,
And when you have a team that has the same beliefs as you and everybody who works for you loves what they do and they come to work happy and they want to help people, you know, I know it's just garage doors. It's not the most interesting thing in the world. But when you create a team and an atmosphere of people who care for what you do and they love what you do, it all comes together.
yeah. Well, and you, I guess you're still working with your ex, or
We do business
Okay.
together, but I own my own company.
yeah,
Just business.
Blood.
yeah.
That's it. That's it. That's been dead 4 years ago.
Just saying. We're here to talk about it
4
all.
years ago.
Well, but I mean, I know that you built your own, you know, so that would, you know, what does he say about that?
Oh, he's
He's not like,
jealous. He's jealous.
still a little bit jealous
Yeah.
because you're,
I
I mean,
just told him he was a hater the other day. But it's okay.
Send the business.
I know.
That's it. That's
Y'all still do.
So how do
work
you?
together.
Okay, let's break that down. So you guys work together. How do you work together? What is it that how do you? He gives you leads. What do y'all do?
No, he doesn't give me anything.
Okay.
We're part of a networking group, and the realtors and everyone, since we've been doing it 10 years or whatever, it's his company.
Okay.
So they reach out to us together in like group messages and things like that. Of course, I'm loyal still, even though we're not together. I'm not going to take your clients or anything like that. So they group us and they group message us, and they'll send us daily appointments, and we'll split it amongst the other project managers, and that's how we still work together.
Okay. So not technically, but you're in the same group.
we're still
So
in the
yeah,
same-
there's a respect level
Yeah.
there that you guys.
So what does a day look like starting off for you?
Oh man, every single day is a little different. Some days we have podcasts. Some days I'm in the field. I try, now that we have the office situated, I have a little bit of a luxury, I would say, that I can schedule field days and office days completely separate. Prior to the office, it was always a jumble. It'd be like, I'm at the office and then, I gotta run to the other side of Houston to look at a job. Now that things have slowed down, not slowed down, but they've become more steady and they've synchronized, I dedicate 1 to 2 days a week that I'm in the field. And when I say I'm in the field, that means I'm going to job sites to take measurements, or I'm going to a place to look at a future project and get a bid together. And then I try to give myself office days, which means I'm going to come to the office. I could be dressed really cute, or I could be in my workout clothes fresh out of Pilates. But I'm just going to be here to work. I'm not going to be here to see people. Now that we have the full service showroom, I try to book people to come in around the same days. So like, if I know that I have a client coming in to look at the showroom on a Monday, I'll try to continue to push more people to come in on that same Monday so that I can knock it all out at the same time. But every single day is different, as in with real estate, same
Yeah.
thing
Yes,
with
every day.
Well,
construction.
when you were actually building your company and getting to the level that you are now, how are you finding clients, or how are you like going out on the, you know, and like, were you
Would you
literally on
knock
the
doors,
hills?
cold calling, cold?
So it's been a long
Encounters.
journey. So in the industry, I've tried to be as creative as possible. I think when you do the same thing that everybody else does, it doesn't necessarily generate the same amount of leads. So I've gotten clients. There was this one time that I was leaving Jasinia's office and I had to go to the bank, and I saw a really nice truck outside of a neighborhood, and I was like, that looks like the person who might be in charge. And so I just stopped on my way to the bank, and I was like, hey, like, you know, I own a garage door company. My office is a quarter-mile away. I'd love the opportunity there in your business. And he was like, oh my gosh, it's almost like God brought you here, because I hate the company I work with. Long story short, I closed them. We've done about 300 houses for that builder in the
Wow,
year
I
and a
love
half
that.
that I've been working for them. So that's one way. I've had business developers who've done cold calling. We've seen a lot of positive traction out of that. I go to networking events. That's another way. I don't necessarily think that there's one way to do it. I've got several different methods that I use. And at the end of the day, the construction industry it's huge, but it's so small at the same time. And it's so weird when I say that out loud because you can't really explain it unless you're in it. But everybody knows each other, whether you know each other personally or whether you've just heard of them, everybody knows each other. And so when you do good work, that moves around the circle. And, you know, yesterday I just got a phone call that they're like, hey, my friend referred me to you. And I was like, I have no idea who this, like, he told me the name and I was like, I have no idea who this is, but thank you for the opportunity. You see what I'm saying? So.
But you don't tell them that.
No. Of course not. But sometimes I'm like, I have no idea.
Yeah.
But thank you for reaching out.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it makes total sense of how it all comes together. But I think at this point, Keisha, I would have to ask you if you were gonna like do something different or give some advice. I would say, I mean, how do you get into this kind of field as a general contractor, as a woman? Like, what made you want to get into this field?
I was dating the guy. I was dating my ex, and that's what
My ex.
But you were the one.
You were helping him already.
Yeah.
So
I
you had
helped
your
him
feet
build
wet.
it from ground up.
Okay.
So every day was construction, every day. So from sun up to sundown, like 7 a.m., 2 a.m., it was just him and I at first. And
were you getting paid at that time?
of course,
You can do nothing
he
for
had to
free.
pay me for sure.
Okay.
I don't think that, now that we're in the industry, I don't think that there was ever a moment like growing up that I was like, man, I really want to own a garage.
Right.
Right.
Like it doesn't happen
It
like
just
that.
happened.
But it
But you
comes
stumbled
together
into
and
it.
you start it, and when you get the fire in you that you realize that you're capable and you can do this,
Like, I love
it's
this.
just different.
No, I think that's something that like, because as you turn on a podcast or you do something and that you see a lot of people glamorizing certain things, right? Or like, oh my God, I'm a content creator.
I think social media has taken it's glamorized other industries to where people think when they hear construction, they're like, ugh. It almost gives them like, oh, I could be a fitness influencer. And those things are lovely. They're great. Love them. But at the end of the day, trades are never going to go away because you still need a place to live. Houses have to be built. Things have to be fixed. And people don't always see the potential return from being in a trade. But if you look at statistics, being in trades, it's absolutely
great.
astonishing.
And speaking of social media, I think the beauty of social media now shows these kind of outlets, right?
Yeah.
And it shows the back end of that. And it's like bringing back, showing people that like, hey, this is a great trade.
Yeah.
Like, you might not have ever thought about it, but it's something that like, hey, general contractor, investing. Let's talk about investing. Let's talk about the back end of those things. And don't just look at the other stuff. I think that social media also opens the outlet to see other people's back end of what they
And
do.
to show that anyone can do it. It doesn't matter
Well, it's
if it
not,
is.
but it's also, don't think it's that easy because it's not. There's a lot that goes into
No.
it, but I think it.
But you don't
opens up
have to
your
be a
mind.
man. You
Yeah.
could be a woman,
Exactly.
to do it.
Go ahead,
Before
Jen.
we go, I wanted to do one last thing for you to just get a question just to finish off.
If you could go back in time, what would you tell your younger self? Oh goodness, that's a good question. I would tell myself that I should believe more in myself because I was a lot more capable through times that I didn't think I was. And I think that the reason why it's taken me so long to get to this place was the initial fear of failure. And had I just, from the beginning I knew construction was an industry, but had I taken that leap at a younger age, I probably would be significantly more successful today than I am because I would have had more years under my belt.
How about
You like
you?
that one or you want to take another one?
I like that one, but let's see.
Okay.
What is the hardest thing in your industry?
That's a good one.
The hardest thing in my industry.
Besides everything we talked about today.
Right, because we already talked about it. Networking. I'm not going to say I'm shy, but just going out there and trying to get the work, that's the hardest thing. But so far, I've been pretty blessed because the work comes to me.
Mhm.
But social media, I have to do better.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You and me both.
better.
You and me
This is a
both.
great start.
There you go.
Yes. So, well, anyways, guys, if you definitely want to have a general contractor, Keisha's your girl. And if you need a garage door, Jasmine's your girl.
Yes.
Builders out there, Jasmine's the girl. And thank you guys for coming on the
Yes,
show.
thank you
Thank you
so
guys for having
much.
us.
And I always love supporting my
Yes.
friends and non-friends. But
And I get to learn more about them.
yes.
I had no idea about your story.
Yeah.
It was really good.
So tune in next time when we
Yes.
come back and talk about the exits.
I know.